Based on the story of the same name for the Railway series book, Branchline Engines, Bullseye is the 21st episode of the 4th series. This episode stands out to me a lot because it features the return of Daisy the Diesel Railcar, whom we haven't seen since Series 2. Toby's cow catchers and side plates are designed to prevent animals from getting hurt if they should stray onto the line, but Daisy thinks they look ridiculous and believes that Toby is simply afraid of getting hurt himself. She tells Toby that any animals, even bulls, will always run away if she toots her horn and looks them in the eye, despite Toby's insistence that they will not. Later that day, Daisy is asked by a policeman to guide a stray bull back to his farmer. She sets off, eager to prove Toby that she can handle bulls, despite the fact that she has never actually met a bull before. Although not usually very fierce, the bull, named Champion, had been crossed that morning. He had strayed from his field, crashed through a fence, slid down a slope and became disoriented. Upon regaining composure, he finds himself just next to the railway line and begins to eat the trackside grass.
Now for my breakfast, he thought.
Daisy arrives and toots to get him to move. Despite several attempts, Champion ignores her and continues eating. Eventually, he notices Daisy and advances curiously towards her. Daisy becomes unnerved as the bull has not run away as she expected. Her driver assures her that Champion is harmless, but Daisy is worried that she might get hurt by his horns, though she tries to hide this. Champion snips at Daisy, which proves to be the last straw as Daisy retreats back to the station. Toby soon learns about the incident and goes to shoo Champion away himself, although not without reminding a now silent and embarrassed Daisy that a bull should always run away if an engine looks them in the eye. When Toby arrives, his bell and whistle prove ineffective against the still grazing bull, but Champion eventually retreats after Toby blows steam at him. The bull and the farmer are soon reunited further down the line. That evening, Daisy feels exhausted but glad that her day's work is over. Some boys at the platform then tease her with some bullseye sweets. An annoyed Daisy shrugs off the joke and leaves to rest in her shed. Despite this episode being placed in the 4th series, the events actually take place between the 2nd series episodes Daisy and Percy's Predicament, which is where it is set in the Railway series, as the narrator says that Daisy never met a bull. But I think this was a really good return to form for Daisy, since we hadn't seen her since Percy's Predicament, and she's still keeping in character as well. And this would also be the last time we would see Daisy in the Classics series, since she wouldn't make a return until her cameo in Calling All Engines, then her eventual return in the Brenner era. And I love the way Michael Angelis performs Daisy's lines in the episode. That voice he gives her is fairly similar to Sir Ringo Starr's performance back in Series 2, sounding just as glamorous but a little bit more feminine.
I've not got stupid cow catchers, but I'm not frightened. I just toot and they'd all go away. But they don't, said Toby simply. They would with me. Animals always run if you toot and look them in the eye. Even bulls. Said Champion. Ooh, murmured Daisy. Why doesn't he run away?
Since Michael Angelis voiced a lot of female characters in the TV series since Series 3 and knew how to give them ladylike voices, and Daisy is no exception. And I really love the confrontation between Daisy and the bull, just how confident she is at first, how annoyed she gets when the bull doesn't take any notice of her, and when Champion does eventually take notice of her, she loses all her confidence and becomes a scaredy cat. And I love the hilarious excuse she gives her driver for not dealing with Champion.
Go on, Daisy, said her driver. He's harmless. Yes, said Daisy unhappily. You know he's harmless, and I know he's harmless, but does he know? Look at his horns. If I bumped into him, he might hurt me. Then the farmer wouldn't like that. Pussy!
This would also be the last time we'd hear Daisy's theme from Series 2, with a few modifications to it. And I love the updated version of her theme. with those extra horns to make her sound more glamorous. Even though I'll always go back to the original theme from Series 2, I do love this version as well. I just find myself loving the original even more. I also love that Mexican music that plays during the encounter between Daisy and Champion the Bull. Parts of the theme sound very much like Izzy Gomez's theme from Tugs, which makes sense as Michael Donnell and Jr. Campbell did the music for that show as well. So it would make sense that they would bring some elements from Tugs into this series. And Champion as a bull is quite a fun character as well, despite being, well, a bull. But what makes him so entertaining is how he thinks in the episode, especially when he finds the grass and thinks to himself about eating it.
Now for my breakfast, he thought.
That pretty much sums up me when I wake up in the weekends. Just thinking about having a nice fry-up or bacon butty or crumpets for breakfast. So I can relate to this bull when it comes to eating stuff. And for a last hurrah for Daisy for the classic series, I think they handled this adaptation really well. It remains faithful to the original story and is a ton of fun to watch as well, especially if you enjoy Daisy the Diesel Railcar stories. Bullseye is a fun episode that features the return of Daisy the Diesel Railcar fan favourite. It's got good visuals, great music, a funny bull, and it's just an all-around funny episode in here and there. It's one that I do recommend checking out if you love Daisy the Diesel Railcar stories. You'll get a lot of laughs watching Daisy confronting the bull and just the attitude of the bull himself. It's one that you'll definitely enjoy watching over again.
Now for my breakfast, he thought.